Hey guys, Marcus here, and we got a deck tech. Um, it's a little something off the wall, but it's one of my favorite strategy. It's one of my favorite decks of all time. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people think it's one of the stupidest decks of all time, but I don't know. For some reason, I really like it. We're talking about TurboFog. Now, if you don't know what TurboFog is, basically the point of the deck is to have a bunch of cards out that draw you a card each turn, like Rites of Flourishing. Now, if you don't know what that does, it at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Each player may play additional land on his or her turn. So basically, what the point of the deck is you draw a bunch of extra cards a turn, and you fog every turn. Now, if you don't know what fog is, it prevents all combat damage for that turn. So what you plan on doing is you plan on going every turn by drawing a fog, fogging all their attacks, taking no damage, and recycling your deck with other cards or making them mill. So basically, it's a mill deck in a certain way. So I'm gonna go through the deck. So we have 4 Rites of Flourishing and 4 Otherworld Atlas. Now this is basically the core of the deck. This is what you want to draw in your opening. One of these in your opening hand preferably one of these. You want to draw in your opening hand every single game. If you do not have one of these in your hand, most of the time you're going to mulligan your hand, unless you have like a ponder or something like that. But these are 100% what you need to have in your opening hand in order for your deck to, well, function. And basically these I let you set up so you can just draw a fog every turn. Otherworld Atlas, if you don't know what it does, you put a charge counter on it by tapping it, and you can tap it, and each player draws a card for every charge counter on Otherworld Atlas. So play 4 of each of those. We have 4 fog, and prevent all combat damage. It's like the best one, cost 1 mana. And now we go to the other fogs of the set so far. So we have 3 Moon Mist. Now normally this would be played in like a werewolf deck or whatever, but it prevents all damage for the most part. There's a couple cards in the set that people play in the format that people play that unfortunately does not work against, which is a little scary, but those cards are Huntmaster of the Fells, Wolfear Avenger, Wolfear Silverheart, to name a few. And unfortunately, it doesn't do much against them, but it still does mostly. It still fogs for most of the format, so it's used. Next fog is Clinging Mists. Prevents all combat damage dealt that turn, and a Faithful Hour. It taps all attacking creatures, and those creatures don't untap during their attack phase. And the last fog is Blunt the Assault. I use this one the least because it's the most expensive, but it's actually probably one of the better ones because you gain 1 life for each creature on the battlefield and you prevent all combat damage. I just use 2 though because it's quite expensive. This card is 3 Snapcaster Mages that you rebuy your fogs, so you just have more fogs. Pretty simple. They can also block, which is kind of a fog as well. We have 3 Tamio the Moon Sages. Basically, they're meant for the +1 ability and the ultimate. +1 ability can tap down their attacker, so you don't have to waste a fog or turn if they only have 1 attacker. Also shorts them on mana sometimes, and the -2 sometimes is pretty good. But mainly it's for the ultimate, where you have no maximum hand size, and whenever a card is put in your graveyard from anywhere, you can return to your hand. So you just get your fog back every turn, so you just have infinite fogs. Jace, Memory Adept. There's only 1 of them in here. I'm thinking of pumping it up to 2 because it was probably one of the better cards in the deck, but mainly it's for the 0 ability where you put the top 10 cards of their library into the graveyard, because it just puts you ahead of them, because you're drawing the same amount of cards as they are every turn, because of Rites of Flourishing and Otherworldly Atlas, so putting them down 10 cards means they'll deck out before you. We have 4 Ponders to help you look for whatever card you need, obviously. We have 2 Beast Within. Usually, the 3/3 beast that it would produce is pretty problematic, but since we're just fogging every turn, it's basically just a Vindicate, just to destroy any permanent. So any problem permanent, like an opposing Jace, or maybe they have like something, I don't know. It's just a good catch-all card. I actually had at the recent FNM I played in, somebody played a self-mill deck, and they played what's that card? It's the Alchemist that whenever you draw your last card, whenever you draw a card, but you couldn't draw a card, you win the game. Somebody played that against me, and I had to wait until I drew a Beast Within in order to mill them out. It was quite awkward. One Noxious Revival. It's a good catch-all card to put anything you want on the top of your deck. A Fog, a Planeswalker, a Beast Within, whatever. One Elixir of Immortality helps you shuffle your entire deck in your graveyard into your library, so you don't deck out. And it gains 5 life, which is actually quite relevant. And finally, one Dissipate. It's just once again, a catch-all, just kind of do everything you want card. Late game, you usually have a bunch of mana up, so you kind of just sit there and play 1 mana for a Fog every turn. So it's just a good catch-all card. And then the mana base, it's just 2 colors, as you saw, blue and green. So 4 Hinterland Harbor. We have 12 forests, because the main color deck is green. As well, the fogs, Rites of Flourishing, 12 forests. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 islands. Pretty simple mana base. And yeah, that's the deck. I'm gonna go over the sideboard a little. What my sideboard was. My sideboard wasn't correct. I was missing a couple cards because I just couldn't get them. The first card is 2 more Dissipates for the control matchup, and sometimes the aggro matchup where they have problematic cards like burn spells and stuff like that. We have 4 Negates. Also for the control matchup, Planeswalkers, counter spells, just good cards in general. There's a lot of cards in the control matchup that are dead. You can side out your Fogs, and these are just a lot better. 2 more Jaces, once again for the control matchup. And, I don't know, just slow decks. The minus 10 from the top of their deck is always good. 2 more Beast Withins. Once again, if they have problematic cards, you can just deal with them. 2 Witchbane Orbs. These are for mono red decks or black red decks, or basically decks with burn. A Devil's Play, or anything that just targets you in general. It was pretty good. I played against a mono red player, and obviously it was absolutely insane, because basically the only way they could kill me is attacking me, and of course I just fog every turn. And finally, we have 2 Flash Freezes. These were unfortunately not supposed to be in the deck. They weren't. I didn't side them in at all. Well, sorry, I did side them in, but like they were not very useful. They were supposed to be this card, Grafdigger's Cage, against the Freets deck, and just control matchups, cards that have flashback, stuff like that. They do they're a non-bow with your Snapcaster mages, but you just side them out, or if you want to. But yeah, these 2 Flash Freezes should definitely be Grafdigger's Cages. I just couldn't get more Grafdigger's Cages. But yeah, so that's the deck. Feel free to comment on the deck, give your hate for the deck, because I know a lot of people really dislike the deck. I know a lot of my opponents did not have a lot of fun playing me, but whatever. I had fun, and I won the tournament, surprisingly. If you want to know how the matchups are, all the aggro decks, like green-red aggro, like green-white aggro, humans, all those matchups, all very, very good. Your worst matchup by far is Delver. They have a clock with Delver's Secrets and Geist of St. Traft, and they have counter spells and swords, and it's just an all-in-all rough matchup. If you wanted to play this in a serious tournament, I would probably not play it in a serious tournament because the best deck is Delver, and you're going to be playing a lot of it most likely, so I definitely would not play this in a serious tournament. But if you're looking for have some fun at FNM, or just fun in general in a casual format or whatever, definitely give this deck a try. It's lots of fun. Well, it is for you, not for your opponent most of the time. Yeah, that's about it for now. Talk to you guys later.